All right, guys, welcome back. I would say happy Monday, except we have a not so happy story to discuss. A lot of visceral reactions online due to the nature of this crime, as well as the racial components that are unfortunately always kind of tied into it, whether they are important or not. There is definitely a lot of there's a lot of outrage given the fact that people believe if the races of these two people involved in the incident were reversed, there would be a much different reaction to it. So that being said, let's kind of give you a recap on this story from CBS News. Karmelo Anthony, the alleged perpetrator of this assault on another student, his family has now broken their silence, and they're heartbroken over the fatal stabbing of a Frisco student. The article says the family of the 17-year-old suspect charged with the ending of a life of the other student in the stabbing death of a Frisco ISD athlete has broken their silence. Karmelo Anthony remained in police custody on a $1 million bond on Monday in the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, who was the student athlete who unfortunately had their life ended at a track meet on April 2nd. In a statement released Monday, April 7th, by the Anthony family's attorneys, they expressed sadness that a life was lost. Well, I mean, that's kind of a generic statement, but okay. And the Anthony family offered their condolences and prayers to the family of Metcalf. They said this will certainly be a long road ahead, and during this challenging time, we ask for prayers for both families, and we ask for your patience and respect for the legal process as we seek the truth, the statement read. Defense attorneys Billy Clark and Kim Cole said that they are committed to making sure Anthony is giving a fair trial and are seeking a reduction of Anthony's excessive $1 million bond. It says the incident happened around 10 a.m. Wednesday, April 2nd, during a track meet at Kuykendall Stadium. The Frisco Police Department said an altercation between two students identified as Metcalf and Anthony resulted in Anthony stabbing Metcalf in the chest. Police said that by the time officers arrived, Metcalf was unconscious, not breathing. Multiple Frisco ISD athletic trainers performed CPR, according to the arrest affidavit. Metcalf was transported to the hospital and was pronounced no longer with us. Shortly after he arrived, Anthony complied with officers and was taken into police custody. According to witnesses, Metcalf and Anthony did not know each other. One witness said that they were there with Metcalf under their school's tent during the track meet when someone said they didn't know, identified as Anthony, came over to them. The witness said Metcalf told Anthony to leave. Anthony allegedly grabbed his bag, opened it, reached inside, and said, "Touch me and see what happens." A witness said Metcalf touched Anthony, and another witness says Metcalf grabbed Anthony. Police said that's when Anthony pulled out a knife and stabbed Metcalf once in the chest and ran away. Again, I don't understand. We're going to see a lot of people trying to say this is self-defense, trying to justify his reaction. I'm going to be the first person to say, look, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. I believe 100% in the freedom to defend yourself, and people should be allowed to arm themselves and defend themselves wherever they go. But at the same time, you're talking about two student athletes at a school-sanctioned event, I would imagine, or an athletic organization-sanctioned event, where one of them probably had no business bringing a weapon with them at the time, given that they were a student, and then basically goading another student into touching them. We're not talking about punching, kicking, strangling, trying to get into a fist fight with somebody. He tried to move him physically. Now, again, Austin Metcalf obviously shouldn't have done that. It ended his life. It's unfortunate that he did, because this whole situation really didn't need to happen. But Karmelo Anthony goaded him into it with the intent on backing up his, touch me and see what happens kind of threat. So again, I don't see this as a clear-cut case of self-defense. I find this to be way more, it definitely crosses the line into, I would almost argue, premeditation of a crime. So from the Independent, it says online fundraiser for suspect in Austin Metcalf stabbing raises over $60,000. Now, this was for a GoFundMe that was set up for Karmelo Anthony. What's crazy about this is GoFundMe, which tends to be kind of loose with their own terms of service as far as what kind of, fundraisers you can and can't allow. A lot of times, if you have a GoFundMe for somebody whose political ideology they don't agree with, they'll shut it down regardless of whether it's justified or not. But then you see that the GoFundMe has actually been shut down, which is crazy. I mean, good on GoFundMe for actually canceling this one, because I don't see a justifiable reason why this kid deserves a GoFundMe. However, he has now raised $160,000+ through GiveSendGo. Now, what's important to point out is GiveSendGo is supposed to be like an alternative to GoFundMe for those who have been disenfranchised by GoFundMe for various reasons, ideological, political, what have you. And here you have GiveSendGo allowing this fundraiser to be going through, and it currently has 175,000. Sorry, my computer's freaking out, guys. Let's refresh this. $175,000 raised in donations for Karmelo Anthony. I'm just going to skip browser pages because this is terrible. And what's worse now is you have people online trying to compare his situation to Kyle Rittenhouse. Yes, the same Kyle Rittenhouse, who I have said many times, if he was my kid, I would have been pissed as hell if he'd have tried to go to that protest, to that riot that happened in Wisconsin. That being said, Kyle Rittenhouse went through his trial. He was acquitted. And they had verifiable evidence that people had tried to attack him, tried to end his life, and that he was justified in using self-defense. But you see, there's these brilliant people on Twitter, these race hustlers, who are saying, y'all said 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse was justified in ending the life of 2 people with an AR-15 because he felt threatened. Felt threatened. No, he was actually attacked. Okay, that there's verifiable evidence that he was attacked, that multiple people in the crowd tried to end his life. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony was defending himself when he ended the life of Austin Metcalf with a knife, and y'all think he deserves to go to prison. I wonder why T. White. Yeah, exactly. This black Twitter account that says Jesus is king, but it's a black man with a crown of thorns, very, very obviously a race hustler, says Kyle Rittenhouse can be 17 with an AR-15. Karmelo Anthony can't be 17 with a knife. Make it make sense. This the sense. Well, again, in their specific situations, one of them was attending a protest and was allowed to be armed. Legally allowed to be walking with a rifle, whether you like it or not. The other was a student that attended a track meet and pulled a knife out after one tiny bit of provocation and into the life of somebody else. We're not talking about the same things. Again, they're trying to compare apples to oranges, and it's not. Another person says, you can't say Karmelo Anthony shouldn't have had a knife because Kyle Rittenhouse should have never had a gun. He broke gun laws to gain access to an AR, committed a mass shooting. Oh boy, ending the life of 2 people. Then the courts let him go. The white supremacists made him a hero. I mean, you guys see that this basically, we can't have this situation where people can be objective about it because, again, race always comes into it. Another person says, Kyle Rittenhouse attacked by convicted felons with weapons and defends himself. Wounds kills only criminals. Karmelo Anthony was in the wrong tent and stabs a 4.0 star athlete who is an outstanding member of his community. There are no similarities, only dipshits would think so. Now, I want to be very clear. There's this picture that's been circulating online of Karmelo Anthony. Sure, the gang signs, flipping off the camera, it looks like somebody who's up to no good, right? Well, white people do it too. I'm just going to be very objective about that. One picture like this does not mean somebody is a criminal. It's a red flag, obviously, but still. This picture here on the left where he's holding what looks like a weapon, this is a toy. It's not a real weapon. Another person says, Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked in the streets by an aggressive mob. Daniel Penny stopped a violent man threatening to kill people. Karmelo Anthony ended the life of someone over a seat, but let's pretend that's the same. Of course, this is from Tariq Nasheed saying if Kyle Rittenhouse was justified in using lethal defense, and Daniel Penny, again, the subway guy that was finally found innocent when he choked out the homeless man who was threatening to hurt people, was justified in using self-defense. Then Karmelo Anthony was justified in using self-defense against alleged bullies who instigated an altercation, correct? Now, again, these people are the same people who think that a word, if you say the wrong word, that they're allowed to attack you. Like, oh no, words are violence is justified over the wrong words. You have another person saying Kyle Rittenhouse's cousins, because the twin brothers here, Austin Metcalf and his twin brother, were obviously into guns and rifles, which again, I don't have a problem with. They didn't bring their guns to the school event. See the difference there? These people are so freaking stupid, they don't even see the difference. Browning Machine says, see the difference between Karmelo and the Sanctified. Karmelo the Sanctified and Rittenhouse is simple. Karmelo is a murderer. I mean, alleged murderer. We have to wait for the trial to actually finish, but again, it would look that way. The same people that said Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't using self-defense when he shot a man that was literally pointing a weapon at him are now saying that Karmelo Anthony was using self-defense when he stabbed an unarmed Austin Metcalf. Just let that sink in. Again, people lose nuance. But the crazy part to me, the craziest part, is people like, even like the right wing, the so-called right wing black influencers have all come out. Maj, I can't remember his name, Maj Touré is like a gun YouTuber, Twitter account guy. CG Bryce and a whole bunch of like the black influencer right-wing sphere are all saying, well, if you thought, Rittenhouse was innocent, but you think that this guy is guilty, you're a hypocrite. So they're dragging up these old videos of people who had justified or unjustified shootings as some sort of own. CG Bryson says the comments here prove how hypocritical people have become. Very interesting. Now, look, I will say, if you think certain shootings are justified and they're not, or shouldn't have been, and then you think that this kid is definitely guilty because he's black, yeah, that's hypocritical. But again, I just find this entire thing to be really, really like brain numbing. It's sad because people can't just look at it and say, In some situations, violence is going to be justified. In other situations, violence isn't. In the situation where you are the aggressor, you put yourself in the wrong place, you bring a knife with you, and then you make threats towards somebody that if they try to move you, you're going to do something to them, and then you back it up. It's just not the same thing. Again, never in a million years would that kid have expected another kid. These are people who are not legal adults. Never would have expected them to have a weapon on them. So again, this is just a mess. I understand people having nuanced opinions, having differences of opinion over who should have been where and all, you know, who should have put their hands on who and everything else. I can accept that we're not always going to agree on everything. But it's just pathetic that people are clamoring to this kid's defense when clearly he put himself in a situation to be the aggressor, brought a weapon to back up his rhetoric, and people are somehow thinking that he's the victim. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Let me know what you think about all this insanity down below in the comments, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Alright, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.